Welcome back to the All Things Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Julian. I'm here with my co-host, co-producer, Small Town EP. We got Big Kev from Raven Media, obviously friend of the show, family of the show. Appreciate him every time he comes on. At this point, if you guys haven't noticed, he's become a part of the show, but don't say nothing. We always appreciate him on. EP, how you been, bro?
What's up, man? I'm down here, back in SoFlo, having a good time, enjoying this rain, I guess, mixed with this hot weather.
Mm,
Ocean is boiling. My
mm.
temperature kind of is too, but we're all right. I had a good night last night, actually. Shout out to my boys, Marcus and Brandon. We actually went to the casino last night, played blackjack for like a couple hours, smacked the dealer a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Loki kind of got a dealer in trouble, but I hope she didn't get fired.
Not too much, not too much, not too much. Kev, what up, bro? How you doing? How you holding up, man?
Not as good as E, clearly, but I'm good, man. Just living life every day, doing doing what I do. Just picking up the camera, pointing it and shooting.
Hey, you not
Probably
smacking up
coming up soon though, so I'm excited for that.
you not smacking up no blackjack dealers?
That sounded so bad.
No, the blackjack dealers smack me up every time. I do not play black. I have retired from blackjack.
That's hilarious. Um, what did you say was coming soon? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Pro League championship game. So
Shout out
I
to
haven't
Miami
been
Pro
able to go
League.
to either of the two. Yeah, I haven't been able to make it to the last two the first round playoffs, but I'm hoping to be out there for the semifinals and the championship game.
Dope, dope. We got a packed episode. It's the AFC North division preview. This is one of my favorite divisions in football. It's always been like Sunday night football, Ravens, Steelers throughout the years. Sunday night football, Steelers, Bengals, Ravens, Bengals. Nowadays, excuse me, has been the more competitive matchup. And the Browns in recent years have become a little bit more competitive. So this is going to be a very fun division to break down. It's going to be an even more fun division to watch. I want to hear your thoughts on what you guys think, of these teams going forward, and who you guys think that can win the division by the end of the episode. But before we get into that, I want to say I don't know if it's 29, 30, 31. We're in that range, but give it up for day 28 through 32 for Dame Lillard still in Portland and not a member of the Miami Heat. Joe Cronin is holding out as strong as possible. And guess what? Hey, man, do what you got to do, bro. Do what you got to do. It's inevitable. You got Tyler Hero posting these cryptic lyric posts every other day, showing how hard he's working this offseason. And at the end of the day, if Dame Lillard, you know what? We don't do that. I cannot wait until Dame Lillard is a member of this Miami Heat organization and training camp is in full effect and we're watching number zero become one of the best players in franchise history over the next 4 to 5 years. Uh, any word, Kev?
I mean, I've always got a word. I think Cronin's still being Cronin. He's salty. He doesn't want to deal with Miami. It's everything that I've said the last few weeks about it. It's the same thing. Like nothing's really changed until he wants to sit down and have a meaningful conversation with Miami, which is the only way this gets done. So I don't know what he's sitting back and waiting for. But again, I still think that their best move, and you're starting to hear Blazers reporter and beat writers say the same thing. Why are you not taking Tyler Hero in this deal? Like, what are you getting that's better? You're gonna ask for 4 first-round picks for what? Because you don't want, what Tyler Hero is. 4 first-round
Yeah,
picks to go do what with? Like you just
yeah.
drafted 3 guys in the first round the last 3 years with lottery picks. So now go and get a guy who is a at least 20 point per game scorer and see what you got. But I don't think Scoot, Shaden Sharp, and Anthony Simons is what they think it is. I think Tyler Hero fits that situation a lot better than I think he's a better player than Shaden Sharp, rebounder, passer. I think he's better at all those things. And right now, I'd say he's better than Simons. I mean, they're still both young and can go either way. So But if you ask me my opinion, I think Tyler Hero's better than both of those guys, and Scoot's a rookie, so you don't really know exactly what he's going to be either yet. So until Cronin wants to sit down, we're going to be talking about this every week until, we find out if they take him to training camp or whatever they do, which at this point, like, why would you do that? It doesn't make sense for the Blazers, because the point is you have three young guards and you want to get them play. So I don't know. We'll see, I guess, what happens.
Yeah. What does Kev know, right? What does Kev know? And to your point though, as far as Blazers beat writers and podcasters, like coming to the realization that, I mean, when is this going to get done? You're only hurting the future of your team at this point, because even if you do keep Dame Lillard and you want to continue the legacy there, that it's coming to an end sooner than later, right? And him blocking somebody's opportunity in a non-winning situation, it doesn't progress your franchise. So it's like, if you were trying to get max value for Dame Lillard, you should have traded him maybe 2 to 3 years ago, and you would have gotten the haul that maybe you're like acting like you're expecting right now. But I mean, frankly, you waited until the gas tank was empty as far as him and his Blazers tenure, and now people have realized that, I mean, Dame Lillard doesn't want to be there. Why would we, give up our entire future for that? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, we also know that Dame doesn't want to play for a rebuilding team. So if you wanted maximum value on Damian Lillard, you should have traded him either A, at the trade deadline, when you knew basically that this team wasn't going anywhere in terms of winning a championship, or B, trade him when Rudy Gobert got traded for 4 or 5 first-round picks, whatever the number is. I think it was 4 first-round picks and 3 pick swaps. That's when you trade Damian Lillard, because either way, Damian Lillard and Jeremy Grant are not winning you a championship. So why not then, if you really want max return for Damian Lillard, trade him when the market's at its highest, rather than you wait a whole year. Things change year to year in the NBA. Jaylen Brown just got paid $300 million. Jaylen Brown just got paid $300 million for having a dominant right-hand dribble and can't go left. That's crazy. Like, things change every year. Nobody's giving you the Rudy Gobert package for Damian Lillard anymore. Congratulations to Danny Ainge for doing it again, but that's like, you're not getting that again.
Yeah, and I think Danny Ainge is like the one to credit in that whole ordeal. Like, whether you call, Minnesota dumb, whatever you want to say about them, that was kind of Danny Ainge striking again. But not too much on Jaylen Brown with the $300 million. I mean, that's just like you said, the NBA changes year to year. And I understand the left hand thing, and whatever. Jaylen Brown to me is a perennial all-star. He is an all NBA guy. He's earned, the dollar amount that he signed for, in the sense that this is a guy who plays 2 ways. He doesn't have a great left hand. He does turn the ball over a little bit more than you'd like him to, but he did go to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, Game 7, and the Finals the year before that, and was a key contributor in both seasons and both playoff runs. I'll leave it at that. For those who think Jaylen Brown, no, I have one more thing. For those who think Jaylen Brown is robbing the NBA, that's just like, I don't have the analogy, but you're just mad that the NBA is making as much money as they are at that point. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm never gonna be upset at a player going and getting their money. Like, obviously, he's earned it. Definitely, he's earned it. He's a two-way. He's one of the best two-way players in the league at this point. However, when we say he's gotten to the Eastern Conference Finals and the finals, let's remember he's the Robin on that team. He's not the Batman.
So yeah, you're right. And but there's an argument to be made that, I mean, if we look at the 2022 finals, I mean, what did Jason Tatum do as a Batman? So, like, it is what it is. I mean, fuck the Celtics at the end of the day. I don't want to spend too much time on them. Jaylen Brown got his bread. Jason Tatum's going to get his bread, whether they trade Brown or not eventually. And Joe Cronin, give it up. We're waiting for Dame. Let's move forward, please, and thank you. It's the AFC North. No,
One
no,
thing,
I
real
don't.
quick.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Jesus, maybe we'll get through one
No,
transition.
I was just gonna say the market.
Let's go.
No, I was just gonna say the market's gonna adjust itself, and he won't be the highest paid player next year. But it's just the fact that he's the first $300
Of course
million
not. Of course not.
But
Of course he won't. But like, see, it can get deep. It's just like, you know what? We know what we're saying. We don't need to explain. Got you, Kev. AFC North. We got football back. The Browns play tonight. The Jets, they're actually playing right now. There's probably a good 5 minutes left in the fourth. I'm not sure if there's more time because the power went out and they were kind of having a discrepancy there when the fourth quarter started. So they are still playing. Can you give me a score update on the first game of the season this year?
16 to 21.
Okay, so that sounds like the over cashed for EP. The bet hit. EP's cashing out on the first game of the NFL season that doesn't even count. Love to fucking see it, bro. Love to see it. Hey, real quick, man, I want to shout out to my boy Brill in the chat. Say what's up. I'm not sure. I don't have the chat up right now. I'm gonna pull it up in a second. I'm not sure if Breeze is in here watching, but at the end of the day, Breeze and Brill, two of my good friends that always in the spaces with them, and they're both Pittsburgh Steelers fans. They're both Knicks fans and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. So, I guess tread lightly on their Steelers. No, I'm kidding. You guys have a specific team you want to start with? Because I'm ready to go with any team here. Where we at with it, Kev?
We can give them Pittsburgh because we know that's what they're here for. We could
All
just,
right.
yeah.
All right. I mean, I'll start this off. I mean, Pittsburgh went 9-8 last season. It was another season they finished over 500. I don't think they've ever finished under 500 under Coach Tomlin. They started last year 1-4. So it was like, a long shot to even make the playoffs, knowing that you have a 2-quarterback system right now. We don't know who's going to be the starter at the end of the season. And eventually it became Kenny Pickett, which we figured would be the case. But if Trubisky, who earned and won the job, would have played good, then he probably would have stayed the starting quarterback. Unfortunately, he went under 500 in his 5 starts, 2-3. And Kenny Pickett comes in and starts the rest of his games and only goes 7-5 with an underwhelming 2,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions in those 12 starts. He did show, flashes of what he can be and what can come for this Pittsburgh Steelers future offensively, with more help on the offensive line, maybe a couple other weapons. They did have Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. Shout out to George Pickens. Me, Breeze, and Brew have been talking about this kid every day because they're dropping new camp tape highlights on him. And, when I say George Pickens, it's capital P-I-C-K-E-N-S. But he does make a lot of great plays out there. He knows how to adjust to the ball. He's a physical wide receiver who loves the game of football, and that's what you want. The Steelers always have a way of finding their guy at wide receiver. But going back to the Steelers season last year, before we kind of talk about them going into this year, because every September, thankfully guys are fully healthy and you can have that hope and that expectation that, all right, well, if we stay healthy or if this guy doesn't get hurt. So that wasn't the case last year. They had, in that 1-4 start in a 9-8 season last year, they were only a few games away from a playoff berth, but they were in 11 one possession games. And they went 7-5 in those one possession games. But like, that just tells me, I mean, this team keeps it close. You know what I mean? Like they're competing, whether it's a low scoring one possession game or whether it was a fairly high scoring one possession game, they're keeping it close, and they are doing just enough to stay in the game. They need to come into 2023 with more answers as far as how they can win those games. Najee Harris ran for over 1,000 yards, had 7 touchdowns. It wasn't his best year, or it wasn't like the best year, but it was a solid year. I just think that the starting Trubisky as a franchise, any NFL franchise, is going to set you back a bit, right? So, like, you try to get through September and a little bit of October with Mitchell Trubisky as your quarterback. You can only go so far. They did realize Kenny Pickett is the better player. I'm not saying he's, that guy. I don't know that he is yet. I would like to see this season as a full, 17-game starter, what he can bring to the table. I'll kind of just set that table and leave this to you, Kev. What are you expecting going into 2023 for this Pittsburgh Steelers team? I don't know if you're muted. You're muted, bro.
That I am. I am muted indeed. They're kind of a bit of a weird team to me, in a sense that I think they have, like, we know Coach Tomlin. He's a great coach. Has never had a season under 500. So that's there, and that's there, and you're gonna get there. But I feel like they've added some really good pieces. Through the draft and through free agency. They traded up for Broderick Jones to shore up the line. They signed Samalu as well. And then signed Patrick Peterson and drafted Joey Porter. So they addressed the offensive line to get protection for Pickett. They addressed the secondary, which, I mean, if Joey Porter Jr. is anywhere near as good as he's projected to, the
right,
his ceiling is projected to be, and having him learn from a guy like Patrick Peterson, I'm sure isn't going to hurt. So the secondary can be really good there. And then adding an Allen Robinson, who is past his prime, but I think still can put Kenny Pickett in good positions to make some better throws and get some open guys. So I kind of like what they've done, but it's a tough division, so we'll see where they stand compared to how the rest of the division stacks up.
EP, thoughts on the Steelers team? Outlook on 2023?
Yeah, I love them trading up and getting Broderick Jones. I mean, he had the fastest 40-yard dash in his position at tackle, so that was a great pickup for them. I mean, when you look at certain things from last season going into this season, when you averaged 18 points a game and that was good for like 26 in the league, I think, as Kev was saying, Tomlin will correct that. I think with the work that you put in, the points will come. With planning and proper preparation, the points will come. But being top 10 in points allowed as well is what's killing them. I know, we've already alluded to all the pickups that they've made. I'm not sure if you mentioned Quan Alexander, Kev. The 1 year.
They did just sign Quan.
Yeah, the 1 year pickup. I know he has, some injury issues from the past and things like that. But still very productive, very productive. So I think that was a great pickup as well. The defense needs to tighten up a bit because they can't be in a division with OBJ and a bunch of other kind of high performance and high impact players, and just readily allowing people to just score on you like that.
I'll say this, E. This division is tough. I do agree. This division does have a lot of players that you have to be careful and wary about when you're facing them on defense. But I'm not gonna start with OBJ. All right. I don't know if y'all boys is cool like that. I'm getting the hint that that's your man's or something. But listen, let's start with fucking Jamar Chase and Lamar Jackson. All right. But anyways, I do want to bring. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the other thing that they like not really get as an addition, but kind of coming back from injury is TJ Watt, who was out 7 games last year. So he only played 10 games. Hopefully you get a full 17 from him this year. And that's, I mean, if you can add that for a full season, that's already a big enough key addition for your defense.
Definitely. I don't think they're gonna get a full 17 out of TJ Watt. I think that he just does too much on the football field to stay that healthy. And listen, I hope he does. And I would love to see him out there. But genetics, you've seen his brother, you've seen him throughout his career, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna
I mean,
work in his favor. But I'll say having him for at least 14 games alongside Alex Highsmith, who is coming off of 14 and a half sacks, adding a guy, like you said, Quan Alexander. And I'm also excited to see Deion Bush and the next step he can take, because he's not going to get a monster contract when it's due, but he is looking to get paid, and he's still a young player who is earning money while we talk. So I'm excited to see what that defense can do. They still have Minka Fitzpatrick back there. And they signed a veteran, Patrick Peterson. I'm not sure how much production they get out of him, but I think he can give them, solid contribution and leadership.
yeah, I mean, TJ Watt's only last year was the first year he really missed significant time. Other than that, he hasn't missed more than a game through the first 5 years in his career. So
yeah,
he's played at least 15 games every season.
It was he's a Watt. That's what I was getting at. But I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not like a trend now, but
right.
like kind of like you mentioned.
But like going toward going towards like what I was saying though, like what JJ Watt did on the field, I think really contributed to his unhealthiness, because he's just too much of a monster, too much man. You know what I mean? Like there's just so much going on every play that when you're that type of player that will put your head down and risk it for your team down after down after down, this is kind of what we see. So hopefully he's fine-tuning things. He's maybe adjusting his whatever it was, to get better and stay a little healthier. I'm hoping for a defensive MVP type season that TJ Watt can get. He's definitely, a top 5 defensive player when healthy in this league. So shout out to TJ. I want to go in the comments. Bro did mention that the Steelers finished the season 7-2. So, you got to give credit where it's due. Obviously, yeah, I don't remember those last 9 games or what they look like, but what I do want to say is that Kenny Pickett is going to have to show, like, you have to show more, and you're going to have to throw more touchdowns than interceptions, obviously, but like you're just going to have to be better. Go ahead.
Okay, I was thinking when I was talking, I was like, I can't think of who I said this about, but remember what I said about the Lions last week? How I think they're either going to be really good or they're going to be really bad. And I don't think there's really much of a middle ground for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what it is with the Steelers too. I think the Steelers very much mirror this Lions team, where like both their quarterbacks are like, all right, don't lose us the game. Like, you're not going to win the game, just don't lose us the game.
Yeah.
And they're going to rely heavily on their defense. So I think these two teams really mirror each other a lot, and I think there's really not really a middle ground for them to be like. I think both of them are going to be like on one side of the scale or the other.
Yeah. So they were in the comments, Brill and Breeze. They're mentioning the fact that it wasn't his fault. Kenny Pickett specifically. They did have offensive coordinator Matt Canada. They said that was Canada's play calls. No Huddle Pickett was that guy. Insanely noticeable difference. And I agree. Matt Canada's a guy who's come from, I believe he was like at LSU 1 year. He's a college coach. You know what I mean? So how much, that transition is always tough when you're going from college to the NFL, especially in a situation where you're coaching a second year guy who, is learning the ropes still. And so, Pittsburgh's going to have to figure out the route they want to go. And if they, because they kept him, they didn't fire him. So fuck if it's his fault or not, can they adjust and can they improve from last year. That's really the biggest key. At the end of the day, it could have been his play calls, but it wasn't only his play calls. There was some poor play by Kenny Pickett, and we're not going to ignore, the what we did see from him. So I'm excited for Kenny Pickett to be to improving himself, and also learning the coach. You have to have a rapport. There has to be relationship between quarterback and OC. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's move on. Let's hopefully we don't lose any listeners as we're going to start talking about division rivals here. But I got a team I'm excited for this year, man, and that's the fucking Ravens. Like, obviously Lamar Jackson, it's Broward County's, Broward County's best. Coming off of an injury-riddled season last year, he didn't get to showcase his talent as much as he wanted to. But this team added a lot. They drafted well, and they also re-signed LJ for 5 years, 260, 185 guaranteed. They're going to have J.K. Dobbins back, who missed 10 games last year. Lamar missed 5 of them. Gus Edwards missed 8 games last year. So it was like, what offense was there really to be run? Now that they have their guys, again, it's August 3rd. I doubt by October we're not going to see any injuries, you know what I mean? And it's just the way of the game. But hopefully it's not J.K. Dobbins. Hopefully it's not Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards, and obviously E's best friend, Odell Beckham. Hopefully he can stay healthy. But they did also trade for Roquan Smith last year, and we saw like that was a significant impact on their defense, which was already one of the better defenses in the league, and that put them at like arguably best defense in the league, top 3. But if I may, I think it was important that they parted ways with OC Greg Roman. It was something that Brill is mad that the Steelers didn't do with their offensive coordinator. They signed Todd Monken. He was Georgia's offensive coordinator since 2020. I look for the Ravens to have a top 3 defense again this year, to have a top 3 rushing attack this year, a top 10 passing attack this year, and a top 5 offense in general this year. And I really, really think Lamar Jackson, if he stays healthy, is going to be as close as that 2019 MVP Lamar Jackson that we've seen so far. He has the weapons. They signed OBJ. They drafted Zay Flowers with their 22nd pick overall. It's just, it's here for the taking, like everything Lamar Jackson needs: the contract, the weapons, the defense, the running back, the tight end. And also, since I said tight end, real quick, I'm excited to see what Darnell Washington can be in Pittsburgh. He's like a fucking 6'8" tight end out there, and supposedly he's just overpowering everybody. But back to the Ravens. Somebody said, yeah, he high. I don't know what they're talking about. They talking about facts. Yeah, he high. It is what it is. But yeah, man. So this Ravens team, what do you think, EP? I'll start with you. Expectations. What are you looking out for this year for the Ravens?
I mean, the offense, really. We already know what they can do on defense, like you were saying. That offense finished 28th in passing yards last year, so that's definitely gonna have to, like you said, top 10 is what you need to be in this division in order to stay in second or hopefully move up. So I'm expecting I'm expecting OBJ and company. That's my boy. So now it's OBJ and company. I want you to know that. Lamar, OBJ, and company to really take this offense to the next level, because I mean, if you wanna compete for that Lamar Hunt trophy, we want to compete for the Lombardi trophy, but first we got to compete for the Lamar Hunt trophy. If you want to get there, you got to be top 10.
Wait, because what got me all the way fucked up is a Kansas City Chiefs fan calling it the Lamar Hunt trophy because he's been there, done that so many times. Kev. That's some bullshit. But go ahead.
Yeah. I was like, oh, what? And then I realized I was like, oh.
Like, yeah, haven't been there enough apparently.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to address a comment. Breeze said, fellow Steelers fan again. Top five offense is nuts. I did say I think that they're going to have and finish with the top five offense. I'm going to stand on that. Breeze, it's August 3rd. They are at full strength. I wholeheartedly, again, want to say this is going to be, I wholeheartedly believe that this is going to be the closest we're going to see Lamar Jackson at that MVP level since that 2019 season. If Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins can stay healthy, the help of Lamar, Rashad Bateman, OBJ, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, there's so much to look forward to. I mean, this offense alone, when they're running the ball at full strength, is one of the best running games. If you Lamar is just getting better as a passer. You know what I mean? So I don't think I'm too crazy for saying Ravens top five offense. And I do know what the AFC has. I do know, you're looking at the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Bills alone in that conference. And you're not even talking about the Eagles. You're not even talking about the Cowboys. So I understand, but Breeze, book it. Top five offense, Lamar Jackson is gonna lead the Ravens to this year. I'm sorry, Kev. Can you continue?
Yeah, I could. I don't think I started, but I'll
Well,
go.
continue on, not like continue from your point.
Oh,
Yeah.
got you. I was like, I was
No.
trying to.
I know E was going. I feel like E kind of finished. That's why
I did.
okay.
Oh man.
My bad. But yeah, for the Ravens, I mean, I love uh I love Lamar, obviously Broward County. I love Zay Flowers too, because Broward County. So I think that's a great connection. I think that was a great draft pick, picking up Zay Flowers in the first round. And I think it's also going to help, as much as Odell is going to help Zay Flowers. I think it's going to be like a reciprocated benefit. I think both of them are going to help each other out. Zay Flowers, I think, is a great deep threat for Lamar. And I think that's going to open up a lot of space underneath for Odell. And I think Odell's at his best when he can just catch the ball in open space and make guys miss. So I'm excited to see what that looks like. I hope Odell can get back to Odell after the injury, because obviously it's having two torn ACLs is not an easy thing to come back from. But I do hope that he does return to his old form and we can see Lamar with a real number one guy. Also, Nelson Aguilar was signed, and he's a guy who can also, again, open things up underneath for Odell, where I, again, think is where he's at his best. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what the offense looks like. They signed Roquan Smith to a 5-year extension. So defense seems to always be something that Baltimore doesn't really have to worry about. It just seems like a thing every year. Baltimore has got like a top 5, top 10 defense at worst. So I don't know that their defense is going to be something to worry about. They did sign Rock Ya-Sin and Trayvon Mullen, and got rid of Marcus Peters. So see how that impacts the secondary. I like the move. I think Rock Ya-Sin only allowed 1 touchdown last year in coverage. So I think it's going to be a good pickup for them, having him out there instead of in place of Peters, who can get beat sometimes.
Hey, I'll say this. Broward to Baltimore connection is strong and in full effect. We got Broward, uh, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, and Trayvon Mullins. So shout out to them boys, man. And I think the Rock Ya-Sin pickup, Gus Edwards as well, and also Tyler Huntley, right?
Yes, Tyler Huntley too. Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley.
To talk that shit, man. And so Breeze and Brill, for these are Breeze by way of Brooklyn, New York, Brill by way of, I believe, East Orange, New Jersey. They don't understand that Broward is really going to ride for Broward. They don't understand why. They don't understand what's so special about it. Mora, shout out to Mora. Love her dearly. she she's always like, why I always talking about Broward? Nobody don't even know about Broward. Listen, we're not doing that. All right. First of all, the list of players in the NFL from Broward is deep. Second of all, he said hella close, Montclair, New Jersey. Nobody knows where Montclair, New Jersey is, my friend. I'm sorry.
Hey, not
Let
hey,
me-
not to cut you off, but not even just
Go
in the
ahead.
NFL either. Not even just in the NFL, across all leagues. The
Nah, that's a
Broward,
fact.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's a fact. And we got to hold each other down, man. It's it's about community, right? Everything is about community. So they'll understand when they see that Ravens top 5 offense and top 5 defense.
Ooh.
They're gonna be like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, they do got a lot of kids from Broward on that team now. All right, now.
Ah.
Tyler Huntley almost beat Joe Burrow in a playoff game.
Talk about it.
He was
Wasn't
about
that
an
like
inch away.
the fumble? What was that? The fumble?
Yep.
Wow, Sam
Almost
Hubbard.
extended over the goal line.
That was actually a great story for the Bengals and Sam Hubbard specifically being an Ohio boy, Cincinnati boy, and like scoring a game-winning touchdown against your division rival and beating them. You know what I mean? On a 99-yard fumble return, 95-yard fumble return, or whatever the case was. It looks like we lost E. I'm not sure. I hope we didn't, but looks like we did. So we'll kind of continue on without him. We lost a Broward boy. Oh, he's back.
Nah, we here.
He's back.
All right. He back. Can we move on? You guys have anything else on the Ravens this year?
Nah, can we move on to the team that just won the first game of the season that doesn't matter?
They're getting all the winning out the way now, you know. The Cleveland Brown show. Yeah, this is the team that went 7-10 last year, finished last in the North. Deshaun Watson only came back and played 6 games. He was super rusty. As we expected. I mean, he wasn't getting. I know Kev wants to make the joke. I'll let him do that. For whatever reason, Deshaun Watson was a bit rusty. Shout to Ray in the chat. Ray's in the chat. He said only thing about the Browns, man, is that can be dangerous is Amari Cooper and DJ Moore. It depends how Watson plays, and I'll get to that in a second because I totally agree. Watson, Chubb, Cooper, Moore, Njoku. Like you have, I said DJ Moore. I'm sorry, I meant Elijah Moore. Yeah. I said DJ Moore. Yeah, my fault. I was thinking about a Broward boy. You know what I'm saying? Because Elijah Moore.
Come on, man.
Or I should have been thinking about it. Let me shut up. Anyways. Listen, the offense can be special. It's a lot of talent on that team. And Deshaun Watson, for those who don't remember, was on his way to winning that Rookie of the Year before tearing his ACL. And then we saw, him come back and show flashes of a quarterback that can be great in this league. He's a cerebral guy. He's a smart quarterback who's athletic and has a great arm. Obviously, everything that happened in that 2021, throughout that time period was a distraction. It took away from, what he can do on the field, and rightfully so. I mean, this is a very tricky and sticky and nasty situation that he got into, and he closed out about 20 of those cases, but he still has a few of them open. So I do feel that. However, we are removed from all that. He has, as far as his NFL career, he has been reinstated. He has played, the end of last season. He served his time, and he's back. So I just want to talk about the Browns and Deshaun Watson as far as how they can contribute to the NFL. They also, I want to notate that they did fire their defensive coordinator, Joe Woods. They had they were ranked 20th on defense last year, and they hired Jim Schwartz. He spent the last 2 seasons as a senior defensive assistant in Tennessee, but we know Jim Schwartz, time in Philadelphia, put together some great defenses and a lot of good schemes. So Stefanski at head coach, Schwartz at Schwartz at DC. Like I'm excited for this Browns team, man. This is a team that has a good offensive line, has young talent on defense like Greedy Williams, who's a little underwhelming, but the guy out of LSU, I'm sorry, what's the safety? What's the safety they just drafted about 2 years ago? He got hurt. Grant Delpit. Grant Delpit. You know, they've got some young talent. So I'm excited to see this Browns team and what they can be. Obviously, they're in a situation where, hey, the division is tough, right? And we know they're not going to win the division. We haven't even talked about the division winners from last year yet. But what can this team do in 2023 to say they've surprised you, Kev?
What can they do in 2023 to surprise me? Win a playoff game, probably.
Yeah. But
Is that what you
okay,
meant? Like,
okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like that's going to surprise like the world, of course. Like, yeah, the Browns win a playoff game. Like, I'm not expecting the Browns to win a playoff game, but like to consider their season not like a failure, you know that this is not really a playoff team. It can be, but let's be real.
Well, you see, that's where I think my answer is different from a lot of people, because I think a lot of people would be surprised if they just made the playoffs, and I don't think that would surprise me very much. But I think for them to win a playoff game would be a little bit more surprising.
Okay.
Like that.
So talk about it. What do you see about this Browns team 2023 that gives playoffs?
Nick Chubb. I think he's the best back in football. He's gonna get more touches this year with no Kareem Hunt. And then you do have Amari Cooper out there, and if Deshaun Watson can be close to all pro quarterback Deshaun Watson, then I don't see why you can't make the playoffs. It is a tough division, but if you have all pro Deshaun Watson, you should be one of the better teams in that division. You should be better than Pittsburgh. You can make the case that you should be better than Baltimore if Deshaun returns to form, and I'd say you're competing with Cincinnati. If you get Deshaun Watson throwing 4 interceptions, I believe that was the All-Pro year, close to 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, could not make the playoffs.
And that was with a Houston. That was with the Houston team. 2020. Okay. Kev, I don't know.
Almost 5,000 yards, 4,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. If you return to that with the weapons you have on the outside, with the run game that you're going to have with Nick Chubb, he's got a good offensive line, so that shouldn't be an issue. He shouldn't be under too much pressure. He should be able to get off clean pocket passes. I mean, I don't see a reason why. The only reason Deshaun's not Deshaun is because, well, it could be a couple reasons, but the main reason would be because he took a whole year off of football.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be the main reason, is that he took a whole year off of football, and it just he hasn't gotten it back. And unfortunately, at 28, this should be his prime, but it could be a season where he's either trying to catch up or a season where it starts to just go down because of that year he took off.
I mean, you make some good points. I can argue. Like I don't think that the Browns are competing with the Ravens. I don't think they're competing for the division, honestly. Like I don't think they have. Let me choose my words wisely. I feel like I'm just talking because the Browns do have the talent. Like we just listed, the names. But it's about putting it all together. And as far as Coach Stefanski goes, I respect it. And I know that he's the right guy for the job. I just think this division is too competitive.
He went into Pittsburgh with Baker Mayfield and won a playoff game. You've got Myles Garrett on the defensive side. I mean, they've got a top 3 defensive lineman and a top 2, maybe the best running back in the league. So I mean, and those are your 2. That's where you win the games, really. The run game and the defensive front. So if you've got 2 of the best in the game at those 2 positions, you set yourself up to at least put yourself in a good position to win every game.
Yes, I want to make a counterpoint as far as that's where you win the games. You do win the game in the trenches. You don't necessarily win the game by having the best running back. Um, you obviously it helps. Obviously it helps, but because I have to speak to this as like as far as the Jonathan Taylor situation is concerned, right? Because obviously we haven't gotten to that, but you can be successful. You can have one of the better rushing attacks, not the best, one of the better rushing attacks without having a top 3, top 4, even 5 guy in the league. I think that if your offensive line and your quarterback play is good, you can have success running the ball. You can also have success as a team and win games with a great offensive line and defensive line and consistent pressure on the quarterback versus just having Nick Chubb. Because at the same time, they've had Nick Chubb this whole time. You know what I mean? So it's not to say he's won them so much, but I get what you're saying. When you have everything that complements Nick Chubb and adding Nick Chubb, you're cooking with some
And
hot grease.
adding Deshaun Watson. The Deshaun Watson that we knew
Man,
before.
hey man, that's the thing though, and that's the biggest thing. Like, is Deshaun Watson going to be the Deshaun Watson from before? There's a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of scrutiny on his name. There's a lot of people that hate the person. So like, at the end of the day, football is a mind game, right? And the quarterback position is the most cerebral position in maybe all of sports. Deshaun Watson, I think he is. I don't know for those who know his story or not. He's from Louisiana, and he was like a part of. He was like a victim of the Hurricane Katrina floods and stuff like that, and grew up, rough. He's a very mentally strong man and a good, kind-hearted person. Um, I would say, outside of maybe his vices or however you want to say that. But like this is the reception he's gotten. He went to Clemson, you know what I mean? Graduated from Clemson. And so like if anybody can do it, I believe he has the mental fortitude to do it. But the task at hand is it's easier said than done at the end of the day. So and then like the Browns winning significantly is just like pipe dream at the
Sounds crazy.
so like it's hard for me to really digest that, but it is a realistic opportunity to have ahead of them.
When I saw Baker Mayfield going to Pittsburgh and win a playoff game, that kind of
Man, listen,
the Browns image kind of changed a little bit for me.
yeah, I mean, cool. I'm excited. I'm excited to see this Browns team. So, do you think they? You know what? We'll wait on that. EP, you got anything on Cleveland?
Not really.
You want to just you want to just move on? Can we talk about the cream of the crop?
I'll tell you what. I'll say this. I know that you you kind of alluded at the beginning of the episode. We'll give our thoughts as to who wins the division. I can tell you that they do not. I can tell you who will not win the division. It's going to be the Browns. That's what I can tell you.
Hey, and you mentioned it at the top of the Browns too. Elijah Moore, who I'm still very big on. I think he just wasn't put in great opportunities under the floor last year, but I still think he's a great receiver. I think he's shifty. He's a great route runner, and I think that's gonna help. Amari Cooper is gonna help him on the other side because I think he's very similar to Odell in the sense that get him the ball in his hands and let him do what he does. So I think Amari Cooper out there is gonna help Elijah Moore on the other side, and yeah, I'm excited to see what Elijah can do. And also Njoku. I love Njoku as a tight end.
Okay. So and their draft
And
class.
they did sign Zadarius Smith also.
Yes, Zadarius Smith was a really good pickup. They had to find something in free agency because they only had like picks 3 through 5 or 6 or so. They didn't have any first or second round picks. They ended up drafting DeJuan Jones, who fell to the 4th round. So I think that was a pretty good pickup for the time. But much love to the Browns and shout out to them. I hope that they can win a good 8 to 9 games and compete for 3rd place in the division. I'll be proud to see it. Ray's in the chat real quick. I do want to go back to the chat. Ray said Um, the division can go either way. He can see anything happening, especially with no Joey B for a few weeks. I wanted to clarify. So was Joe Burrow going to be missing for about 6 weeks from the injury date to the regular season, or like from the start of, like at least through week 6, we're not going to see Joe Burrow?
I'm
I'll
not
clarify for
too
you
sure
right
on
now.
that. I am looking right now.
Because I thought it
Says
was
he's gonna
like,
miss several weeks.
yeah, but like of camp, you know what I mean? Like I thought it was like, from the injury date, he's gonna miss several weeks. I don't know that he's going to miss 6 weeks of the regular season. Like, to me, that's a huge fucking problem. And I think that it hasn't been blown up in that way. So he may miss 1 or 2 games at the beginning of the season.
I mean,
It looks like
several.
from what they're saying is that they expect him to be ready by week 1.
Okay. That's what I figured. But if not, week 2, 3, or week 2 or so. But let's hope Joey B can get back to playing football. Brill said
Yeah,
the whole division's probably going to split games. Wouldn't be surprised at all. What's up, EP?
I was actually gonna comment on Brill's comment that you just commented on. I like that look. I'm gonna look at that and as far as gambling terms. I like that look. Everyone splits the games.
Okay. So, I mean, we got the
Yeah, I could
Bengals.
see that. I could see that as well.
We got the Bengals, and this is a team that went 12-4 last year, won the division, lost in the AFC Championship game. Lamar Hunt Trophy did not go back to Cincinnati. But, as close of a game it was versus Patrick Mahomes, and as great of a game as we got, it was like a fucked up ending where everybody's looking at one player. I hate those situations, because I get it. The guy fucked up. He, committed a penalty he shouldn't have. But at the same time, there was opportunities throughout the last 59 minutes of football that you didn't capitalize on. And that's always the case. Like, there's so much game. There's so much game that when it comes down to it, for example, in the Super Bowl, we saw it in the Super Bowl with the defensive holding call. Quote unquote, it was the right call. You got to play better defense. Can't leave it up to the refs. I understand, but at the same time, like, Kadarius Toney's punt return was also one of the biggest points of that fucking game, and Jalen Hurts' fumble was one of the turning points of the game. Like, there were so many things you could have looked back at to say, pause. You could have, to say, like, had we done this, we could have won. It's just scapegoating, looking at the most recent fuck up to put blame on. So I get it. That's how sports works. But this Bengals team is gonna stay exciting. They have a lot of talent. They're well coached. Bro said pausing that is crazy. I got to, bro. Y'all be watching that. It is what it is. Talk, man. Listen. Shot the camera, shot the mace, and what's the name? I forgot what's the name. But all right. So they lose Jesse Bates and they lose Von Bell. Right. The defense isn't their strong suit, but Jesse Bates was their best defender, if you ask me. Losing both of your safeties has got to be real tough. So they go out and they draft Jordan Battle in the 3rd round, and they also sign Nick Scott, who was with the Rams last year, to I think it was like I'll get the details later, but they signed Nick Scott to a 1-year deal. Actually, it was just a 1-year deal. I think the biggest signing for them was Orlando Brown Jr. They agreed on a 4-year deal, and they also shirt up on that line by signing former Arizona Cardinal Cody Ford. So, they've, since drafting Joe Burrow, they've made it a focal point that we are going to continuously improve our offensive line. What's kind of getting scary now is Joe Burrow and these injuries, these lower leg injuries. You know what I mean? Like, that was a non-contact injury. So I understand rookie season, offensive line was atrocious. You're getting beat up all season. Your second year that you go to the AFC divisional game versus Tennessee and you get sacked for like a record-setting number
like
and
20
still win the
times.
game. Yeah, and like but like, man, if you're a Bengals fan, you got to start getting a little nervous about this guy. Like, as great as he is and throwing for 4,800 yards, throwing for 4,600 yards, Joe, you got to stay healthy, bro. You got to stay healthy, man, no matter what. And so that's kind of alarming to me, just seeing, the fact that he is getting all these injuries. They also did sign cornerback Sidney Jones from Las Vegas. Not too big on Sidney Jones. I feel like we've seen what he is and what he can be. But after losing Eli Apple, I guess it's a fair replacement. Irv Smith was another signing that I'm excited to see. Irv Smith was in Minnesota. They traded for Hawkinson, so they didn't need him anymore. And you give another weapon to an already weapon-filled offensive artillery to Joe Burrow. EP, talk to me about these Bengals and why you think you're scared of them facing the Chiefs in a possible AFC Championship rematch.
It's the culture that they're building in Cincinnati, really.
I love real quick, E. I gotta give you your flowers, bro. Very respectful, very humble, always accepting. I like, you ask me some shit like that, and I'm like, well, first and foremost, we ain't scared of shit. All right. But go ahead, bro. You're like, you appreciate the culture and well coached. Like, he's gonna say the right things, man. Shout to PRE, man. That's personal relation, not Puerto Rican.
But for real, I mean, it starts with, seeing things like Joe Mixon taking a pay cut to quote unquote sources saying to keep certain pieces here because he sees what they're building and they're trying to make a title run right now. But I think that this Joey Burrow thing, I would feel afraid, but not for me anymore with this Joey Burrow situation. Like, he can't stay on his feet. My man was going for a jog. He was trotting off like niggas really thought yo, you saw the video, man. They really thought he caught a cramp. They was just like, get up, bro. Like, and like, yo, bring the car, bring the what? Bring the cart. Like, so I he needs to get that under control. They need to, I don't know, he needs to see what his health people are doing with him in the off season, like something, man, because you're definitely, your O-line hasn't been the best for you since your career started. And there could be some health things that you could be taking care of, some extra, maybe a couple millions of dollars you might be spending, but hey, what's that for another, Super Bowl title run?
Fair enough, Kev.
I think it's hilarious that Joe Mixon just took a pay cut while all these running backs are trying to get paid. So that's the first thing that jumped out at me, was like, and then he goes and does an interview about it, like, yeah, I see what we're building here. I want to win a championship, so I'm gonna take less money. And I just know every running back is just angry at him so like right now. But obviously the Bengals, we've seen what they are with Burrow. Like we just talked about a little bit earlier, they say it looks like he should be ready for week 1. I would err on the side of caution with a calf injury, though, because we know what's attached to the calf. We've seen it with Kevin Durant in the NBA Finals. When you have a calf strain and you come back too early, what can happen? So I'd say week 1, if he's not 1,000%, let him sit. Don't, rush him back. And especially earlier, now that you have an extra game, you have 17 games instead of 16 now for the last 2 years. So sit in 1 game, sit in 2 games, maybe even, to make sure that he's ready for 15 to 16. I'd rather do that than rush him back for 1 or 2 and he gets hurt early on, and then he's missing an extended period of time to where you're not gonna have for the rest of the season. But I think as long as Burrow, Chase are there, the offense is gonna be what it is, what we've seen it be the last couple of years. Even when he doesn't have a great offensive line, which is crazy, that he's still able to just hang in the pocket and make the throws that he's able to make. But we saw that even back when he was at LSU, making throws in the national championship game in the red zone hidden in the pocket, and that's when I knew. I was like, oh, okay. Like we've seen him all year make these throws and have clean pockets, but when they were playing Georgia in the national championship game and he's stuck in the pocket and he delivered the throw on the money for a touchdown, it was like, okay, yeah, no, this kid's for real. And so we see what he can do. He's the real deal. Obviously, we know what he is. You know what Jamar Chase is. I think Jamar Chase is going to have an even better year this year than he did last year. Missed some time with the injury.
Yep.
Had to come back and get adjusted. So I think as long as he's healthy this year and you have a healthy Burrow, I think we see a Justin Jefferson-esque season this year from Jamar Chase. And yeah, I do think you made a great point about them losing their two safeties, both starting safeties, who are both really good safeties in this league. And that is something that when you're facing E's guy, you're going to need those two safeties to be disciplined. You're going to need them to be back there, and you're going to need them to make plays. And losing a guy, I love Jesse Bates. I've loved Jesse Bates since he came into the league. So I think that's a huge loss, even though he has declined a bit the last couple of seasons from what he's used to. His level of play isn't really that all-pro level these last couple of years, but he's still a really good safety back there. And him and Von Bell back there, I think is the reason why you could start Eli Apple. Like you had two really good safeties back there, and that allowed you to do some things at cornerback that a Super Bowl, that an AFC Championship team or a Super Bowl team wouldn't usually do. So I think that's going to be where they miss guys. But again, you have the quarterback to go win you shootouts. So we'll see how many times he's going to have to put them in those positions where they have to win by scoring 40.
Definitely. They also they've got Mike Hilton and Chidobe Awuzie, right? Out there in cornerback. So I wanted to look at their draft class real quick. I like Miles Murphy out of Clemson with their first pick, their first round pick. And then they get DJ Turner. So out of Michigan. Cornerback, they obviously needed to fill the defensive end position, and at the same time, when you have a guy like Miles Murphy available at 28, you had to take him. But I do really like their second and third round picks where they're addressing corner and safety. And then shout out to in round 7, pick 246 out of the University of Miami, DJ Ivey. This is like shout out to DJ Ivey for getting drafted one. Like this is a guy I've been following since he come out of high school. And honestly, it's been up and down, bro. Like, you talk to my boy Gio, talk to my boy Steve-O, these are my Hurricanes guys. Like, we've been on DJ Ivey ass about shit, bro. Like, bro, make the tackle. Bro, stop getting beaten, man. Stop pressing if you're gonna get beat deep. And there was a lot of fun times with DJ Ivey's career in Miami. There was a lot of shit talk that we posed his way because, you're just thinking like, this is not like you're better than this. And so, you see all that. And then to end up getting drafted and to be like a camp standout for the Bengals, who, this is a perennial AFC contending team. It speaks a lot to his work ethic and who he can be. So, like, I'm proud of the Bengals for addressing need in the offseason. And I think that, these guys can come right along and make impact this year because, like you said, Kev, if you play in the Chiefs, bro, you need to be disciplined back there and you need to know what you're doing. So, there's going to be a lot of moments of, these guys getting thrown into the fire, but I think it'll also help them grow pretty quickly. Go ahead.
Did you see the nickname that they gave DJ Ivey?
Nah.
His teammates? Mike Hilton, I guess, was one of the guys that came up with this, but they have started calling him Poison Ivy.
That's fire. All right.
And another guy actually that I just realized that you're gonna have to deal with as in terms of like having two safeties back there is Aaron Rodgers, by the way. So I just get that one in there.
How convenient the Jets fans just realized. I just thought about it. oh shit, AFC. Nah.
Just crossed my mind.
Fair. You just thought about Aaron Rodgers. You just like Oh, that's our quarterback.
That's
Must be
funny.
fucking nice. I wanted to go to your point, Kev, as far as bringing Joe Burrow back too early and sitting him out a game or two if you have to. They start the season off in Cleveland and then go home versus the Ravens. So, you want to have Joe Burrow available for those divisional games early in the season. And those are it's a winnable game. I think you can. I think there is a world where I don't even want to say that. No, go ahead.
Whoa.
No, now I want to know what you were gonna
Okay,
say.
I don't think there's a world where the Bengals will beat the Browns without Joe Burrow. I don't.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
I
I mean,
I-
it's football, so anything can happen.
right,
But I do
right.
agree with that.
Especially week one.
But like as far as yeah, I mean as far as like having him for those games, I'd rather not have him for those games and have him for the last 15
of course,
and
of course,
lose him in one of those two games.
of course.
But like if he's healthy, then obviously get him out there. But if there's like any even like sort of doubt or like sort of like I'm not too sure, you
Yeah.
gotta sit him regardless. You could go. I think they had a slow start last year too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they started the season off on a great with a great record, and still caught fire at the end and ended up back in the AFC Championship game. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's still definitely a way to even win the division, even if you drop those first two games for Cincinnati.
Hey man, it's going to be a fun division to watch. I'm super excited for this NFL season. We finally got the first preseason game in the books. I don't believe there were any significant injuries, so like shout out to that. Shout out to all the coaches in this division because we got a lot of good coaches in this division. I heard EP had some questions for us before we get out of here. I want to give him the floor and fire away. By the way, if you are watching live, I'm sorry, E. If you are watching live still, much appreciation, bro. Much love. Share the pod, shout us out, screenshot us. You know what I'm saying? Let the world know All Things Sports Podcast is going to hold you down for all your sports needs. We talk about football, we talk about basketball, we talk about baseball. EP's EPL is going to be making a comeback next
week. Next
week we can say there's maybe but maybe some preparation, we can do some prep talk
for sure.
Prep talk.
I'm excited
EPL
for
is
that.
coming back next Friday, so like I just want to take this time to appreciate the listener, the viewer, and thank y'all for rocking with us. EP, hit us with them questions, man, before we get out of here.
Yo, Kev, who's the biggest threat to Cincinnati right now?
Who's the biggest threat to Cincinnati right now
in this division?
Joe Burrow's calf.
Yo.
Okay. Like team. I'm stuck between Baltimore and Cleveland, but I'm going to go Baltimore right now just because.
Nah, stand on that Cleveland shit, man. Stand on that Cleveland shit, man. Stand on that Cleveland shit, man. Stand on it. Stand on it.
It comes with the disclaimer.
Stand on it.
Disclaimer.
Nah, I got you.
Deshaun's got to be all pro Deshaun. That's the only way that they can win. If Deshaun we saw last year for 6 games, like they're not going anywhere. But if he's reverts back to 2020, Deshaun Watson, then I don't see a reason why you shouldn't win.
Yeah,
double digits in games, which
we need. They need Clemson. They need Clemson, Houston, Deshaun, not massage parlor Deshaun.
Yo, fam.
Not Bobby Kraft Deshaun. Bobby Kraft Deshaun is crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
That might be the Deshaun they actually need.
The season might come with a happy.
Hey man.
All right.
Let me tell you something real quick. Is like we saw what happened to Tiger Woods after he went to sex therapy. So like I don't know, like maybe some of these guys just
we saw. Listen, man, you stop fucking with them white girls, man. All right, that's enough. Kev, so can I answer the question?
yeah, word.
Listen, I'm gonna stand on what I said. I mean, Breeze called me a crackhead or whatever, said I was high or something, for believing that the Ravens can be as successful as I believe they're going to be specifically. I have to think it's the Ravens. I think the Ravens ultimately, with that defense and that firepower offense, it's going to be tough for a team in the Bengals who, one, is coming into the season with a quarterback who is trying to get back to full health. Coming into the season, after losing two veteran guys on the defensive back end, I just think this Ravens team is coming into the season stronger, faster, better, with arguably more talent. You know what I'm saying? Arguably more talent. So, yeah, I think the Ravens are the biggest threat to this team.
June, which newcomer to the division is going to have the biggest impact?
I think Zay Flowers, man. I really do think we might see him in the discussion for offensive rookie of the year, like top 4, top 5, maybe at that 4 or 5 slot. Obviously, the quarterback, you're going to have the CJ Stroud, the Anthony Richardson, the Bijan Robinson. But, like, there's a world for me where Zay Flowers might jump, 1 or 2 of those guys. Because, again, if Rashad Bateman stays healthy and Odell Beckham can give you quality, starts, who's I don't think either of those 3 guys are guardable one-on-one. You know what I mean? So, like, that's kind of a matchup nightmare for that defense. And you already have the second most unguardable tight end in the league, in Mark Andrews. So, like, it's a lot to go around with a firepower run game and an elusive, explosive quarterback in Lamar Jackson. I just think that Zay Flowers is going to bring as much out of Lamar and that offense that offense and Lamar can bring out of Zay Flowers.
Kev, same question.
I really like that answer. That's probably who I would have gone with if June didn't go there. So I'm gonna go with another Broward boy and go with Elijah Moore. Talking about it a little bit earlier. I do think it's gonna be Zay Flowers, but just for the argument's sake, Elijah Moore I think is gonna have a lot more opportunity in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson. Hopefully you get the Deshaun Watson that we knew before everything went down. Amari Cooper on the other side, arguably the best receiver he's played with besides Garrett Wilson, and even then he didn't really play much with Garrett Wilson, so we didn't really get to see him play with an elite receiver yet. So I look forward to seeing what Elijah Moore can bring to the Cleveland offense.
Gentlemen, you have your candidates for winner of the division. I'm going to do something a little different. On the count of 3, you're both going to say it at the same time. This is going to be so much fun. Are you guys ready, though?
Let's go.
1, 2, 3.
Bengals.
Ravens.
Wait, what did you say, June? I'm sorry.
Sorry. I said Ravens.
I like it.
Yeah. So just to kind of elaborate on that, I mean, I can't come out here and tell you guys that I think this team is going to have a top 3 defense, top 3 rushing attack, top 10 passing attack, and a top 5 offense.
Woo.
I can't say all of that and then be like, the Bengals are going to win the division. Like,
Yeah, but the Bengals are going to have a top 2.
fair, 1, and then they might, but. Oh, that's funny. He said y'all waited and only 2 of y'all went. EP, I guess Brill was expecting you to answer as far as your winner of the division as well. I don't know if he was hoping one of us. I don't know if he was hoping one of us is going to say Pittsburgh. That ain't fucking happening, bro.
Yeah,
happening, bro.
I really knew that one of you were gonna say the team I was gonna say, so I just let both of y'all
Who you got though? Who you got?
go. I'm gonna
OBJ
take
and
the
company.
nah. I'm gonna take the Bengals. I'm gonna take the Bengals.
All right. All right.
That's
Yeah.
that's why he didn't want to say it, because he didn't want OBJ to see this and be like, "Damn, you're not my boy."
He he also doesn't want to speak it into existence so that the Chiefs don't have to see them come January. So it's a lot going on here. But to unpack real quick, as I mentioned, the argument I made for the Ravens earlier, I'm standing on it. I wholeheartedly believe it. They're playing the AFC South this year. It's not the strongest division in football. It's one of the weaker ones, and frankly, the Ravens might sweep that division. So with all that being said, man, if God has the plan for them to stay healthy this year, I truly think that team is going to be very, very special, very, very special.
Fire.
You got any more questions?
Nah, I think that's all of them.
I got a question for y'all.
What's up?
I got a question for y'all. I'm gonna go full disclaimer before I ask the question. No Mike Tomlin, okay? We're not talking about Mike Tomlin here. That's the disclaimer. He's excluded from even being in consideration for your answer. So switch it up. Going into 2023, what coach is facing the most pressure in this division? So, EP, I'll start with you.
Nah, start with Kev. I need a second.
Carl.
I will go with Kevin Stefanski. You look at Cleveland after his first year, which was such a success, and then you look at the next 2 years, and it's like, what the hell happened? And then obviously last year we know what happened with Deshaun coming in, getting suspended the first 11 games, so you don't have a full season with Deshaun. But now you've got a full camp, you've got a full off season, you've got a full preseason, and you got Deshaun Watson from week 1 to the end of the season, hopefully, as long as he stays healthy. You sacrificed a lot to get Deshaun Watson, and you're paying Deshaun Watson a lot of money. So I think we're at the point where, okay, you did, yeah, you're at the point now. It's Stefanski where it's like, okay, you thank you for getting us off that schneid of not winning a playoff game. Good job, but like, we need to see results this year, or we got to find somebody who can produce results, because we can't pay Deshaun Watson $230 million no matter what. It's all guaranteed, fully guaranteed. We can't pay him that money and not have somebody here who can figure it out. So I think Stefanski, it's about that time that they've got to at least get back into the playoffs for him to see another season. Yeah,
I mean, listen, I wholeheartedly agree with your sentiment. I don't fuck with the Kevin on Kevin crime. Not gonna lie, if there was a coach named Julian, I wouldn't have picked him. It's kind of fucked up. It's kind of fucked up. It's kind of fucked up.
You heard what I said about the Browns. Why do you think I'm so high on the Browns?
Listen, you could have said Zach. You could have said John.
Hey,
which one is it? Is it John or Jim? Is it John or Jim? I always get a mix up.
Jim and John.
It's Jim in
Jimmy John
in Baltimore. No, it's John in Baltimore. Jim's in.
Yeah, it's John.
All right.
I'm gonna go with John in Baltimore. That's what we're gonna call him from now on. John in Baltimore.
John from Baltimore. First time, long time.
First time, long time.
Oh man, I just think that after
why do we think John is the guy with the most pressure? Go ahead.
I think after the whole debacle with Lamar's contract and now them signing my homeboy over there and OBJ.
He don't know you. He don't know you, bro.
I just think at this point, with everything that's happened, all the ups and downs, Lamar having an MVP season, and then holding out and all of that, I think at this point it's like, did you fix the issue? Is it everything all good? Can you guys play football, cohesive football, win and win when it matters? At this point, after all these years that he's been in Baltimore, I think it's put up or shut up at this point.
And just to kind of piggyback on your point, and also make a little counter argument, I do think, once the ink is dry on that paper and that bitch say 260, 185 million guaranteed, like everybody's fucking happy at this point. Like, listen, we got that out the way. Let's play football. I think John Harbaugh has been frustrated with the injury standpoint of his team, right? Like he's been gotten the short end of the stick on a lot of those fronts, where J.K. Dobbins, a guy who you draft out of Ohio State, and Rashad Bateman. Don't kill me. I forgot off the top of my head where he came from, but thank you. You're dealing with a lot. You're dealing with a quarterback who gets hurt, and you're still pressured to come out of this division successful. But that's the name of the game. You're a Super Bowl winning head coach, been there before, been in this division. It's at its toughest points. So there's really no excuse. The Ravens have come close, that 2019 season where Lamar Jackson loses to, or I should say the Ravens lose to the Titans in the divisional game. And they haven't, found that success since. It's now time. Obviously the Bengals have drafted well. They found their franchise quarterback and yada, yada, yada. But you guys are still the Ravens, and you guys still, hold a premier defense and a elite, not number 71 ranked, but elite quarterback. So I think the pressure is on John Harbaugh as far as I think you got to win the division, at least win a playoff game this year for me to feel like, you know what, there's not going to be any type of awkwardness this offseason. What's up, Kev?
I fucked up. I was thinking Zay Flowers. Bateman's from Minnesota.
Zay Flowers from Boston College.
Damn, who am I thinking about from UC?
It's all good. It's all good. Listen, it's all good, man. It's all good. We
I gotta
do
figure this out. Somebody was
okay.
From
Minnesota. You're right. He is from
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Hey, real quick, before we wrap this up, funny story about boy E. So I'm in Wynwood one night with my ex. We're at this random. We might have been at Wynwood Marketplace, honestly, like nothing special. We were just like getting drinks, vibing. It was like a Friday or Saturday night. And what first caught my attention, this was like 2017. What first caught my attention was this beautiful dime piece, you know what I'm saying, of a woman. And I was just like, I'm with my chick. But I'm like, you with your chick, sometimes you're going to look at a chick. Like, you just going to like, yeah, I mean, listen, if you bad, bro, the eye is, it's a magnet for the man's eye. So it's on the man to restrain.
If your grocery cart is full and you're in the supermarket, it doesn't mean you can't look at the groceries when you pass them.
These are facts. So she catches my eye. I didn't catch her eye. This was not like we caught each other's eyes. No. She caught my eye. She was bad as fuck. So I double took. And then what next caught my eye was this blonde mohawk with curls. Looked like Patrick Mahomes nowadays, but it was OBJ, signature mohawk. And I'm like, no, yo, get the fuck out of here. Yo, nah. He's hurt at this point. This is when he was dealing with a knee injury, rehabbing. I'm sitting here like, okay, hold on. I'm gonna ask Odell Beckham Jr. for an autograph or a picture, like one or the other. This is crazy. Like, he's one of the hottest players in football. He's one of my favorite players at this time. Like, that's what's up. Man's sleeved up. That, you know what? Let me ask him. Yo, babe, hold my phone. I'm finna ask him for a picture. Yo, what's good? Yo, Odell. Oh, what up, bro? Shake my hand. What up, bro? Yo, listen. Hey, man, good luck this season. Get better, stay healthy. Uh, I'm a big fan. Can we get a pic? Real quick, nice pic. Post it on the gram. OBJ Winwood. Boy, I tell you. Hey. All right, hold on. We gotta pause. And for my listeners that's not watching but just getting the audio experience, I'm reading the comments in the YouTube section, and Master Brillium, Brother Brill,
Oh man.
he has pointed out. He said, "Pause. He said, "Hottest player in football, sleeved up. Have some shame." And you know what? Shame I do have. Pause.
Yo.
Going forward, I will never say sleeved up. All right, when I describe a next man. All right, but look,
Oh man.
I noticed the tattoos. If I can fix that one. Anyways, I get the picture posted on the gram. Time goes by, maybe like an hour, so I'm still kind of elated. Like, yo, what the fuck, bro? Like OBJ out in Winwood, and I don't know what it was or who it was, but somebody pointed out that was not Odell Beckham, but it was his heir apparent, and it was a clear look-alike. So that was Fodell Beckham. As I've come to that conclusion. I met Fodell Beckham, thinking it was Odell Beckham. Asked him for a picture, and I think since that
at
day,
the Winwood
I
Marketplace.
told myself, have some sense, bro. All right, so like this is okay. You know what? I didn't learn my lesson. I hate this. I have to be honest. I didn't learn my lesson. You have to understand that when you're meeting, or if you run into a celebrity or somebody of that magnitude, think about where you're at. Think about what's going on. Because why the fuck would Odell Beckham Jr. be at the Winwood Marketplace with me, like with us? You know what I'm saying? One. He said, "Ain't no way you said all that for a bootleg." I built the story up. This is Jeff Teague like right here. Listen, I have another one. I don't need. I'll tell it another time. But I basically interviewed Ron Starks, so I have a Fodell Beckham Jr. story.
Oh my god, this is a good story.
You know what? Brill is a Knicks fan. If you guys don't mind, I'll take 2 more minutes to get into this Ron Starks story. Jesus Christ. So I deleted that post off Instagram. I never met Fodell Beckham in my life. All right. Fuck that guy. And for him to be dressed up like Odell Beckham with his hair the same way, tattoos and all, fuck you. If you ever see this, fuck you. Straight up.
Man.
Now, 2 years pass. I'm doing a shout out to K1NG Radio, shout out to Joey T, shout out to my boy Jay over there, shout out to Zoe, shout out to Papa Zoe as well. They gave me an opportunity to do a sports show Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. With Joey T, Sports Talk with Joey T. So Brill said he met the real John Starks twice. Knicks camp at Chelsea Piers. That's hilarious. I met Ron Starks once. But I also met
Julian.
No. One more time. I did meet John Starks. We'll get there. So I get invited, working that radio station. We get invited to Alonzo Mourning's Super Bowl golf tournament draft party. Cool. It was a red carpet event. Got to interview the likes of Dr. J, Sam Madison, Alonzo Mourning, Eddie George. I met Ozzie Smith, MLB legend. So that night goes, and it was amazing. It was so good. They invited us to the actual golf tournament that Friday. Mind you, this was all like Tuesday night. We get invited. Wednesday, they tell us, or Wednesday night. Then Thursday is the draft party. Then they tell us Thursday that we're going to be there Friday. So I'm like, holy shit, this is a lot. I see the list of celebrities that could be there and might pull up. So I'm like nervous as fuck, putting together what I can ask questions, whatever. We get there Friday. Just to kind of give context on who was there and how it went for me. It was a great day. It was one of my favorite days. Just being in sports media and shit like that, because I got to meet Marcus Allen. He complimented me on the interview I gave him. I got to interview Coach Mike Woodson and Lawrence Taylor at the same time on a golf cart. I was drinking a Bombay lemonade, and I asked them for an interview. They told me that I was bothering them for fake. You know, they were kind of laughing with me. So I got a picture with LT, you know, drinking a Bombay lemonade right here in my hand. He's smoking a cigar, like shit like that. I passed up the opportunity to interview Jason Taylor because he looked way too cool. It was the first interview of the day. I said, listen, I ain't doing that. I'm not bothering that guy. He's standing 6'7", 6'6". I was like, I'll the next guy. Next guy comes Dickerson, NFL Hall of Famer. I'm like, Jesus Christ, take the fucking wheel. Here goes nothing. You know what? I get through that. Santana Moss, Julius Peppers, me and him spoke for a good 10 minutes. Like, amazing conversation. Here comes, lo and behold, the one and only, number 3, Ron Starks for the Flu York Knicks, bro. Like, so I'm listen. I'm like, yo, John Starks, bet that's fire, bro. Like, John Starks, I respect this guy. Undersized, you know what I'm saying? Tough guard. Listen. Here we have former NBA All-Star. I didn't say his name, and I must credit myself that I didn't give myself away that far. And I knew how to play it. I said, man, we got a legend right here, former NBA All-Star. How you been, man? How you doing? He said, well, man. He said, well, man, I did play some high school ball, but you know, I didn't make the league. Something along those lines. Boy, it clicked in my head faster than they're saying Jalen Hyatt runs in training camp, bro. Like, I said, boy, this is not John Starks. You know what my next follow-up question was? Well, how are you doing today? and look, he was graceful about the situation. We didn't talk about the awkward moment. I interviewed him. He went on his way. I don't know what his real name is, but the way that I confirmed, that was my first confirmation that I was like, wait, this is not John Starks. My second confirmation was about 20 minutes later. Here comes John Starks. I was like, oh shit, he's taller than me. I'm so when I was talking about the Odell Fodell situation, thinking about situational awareness. Why would Odell Beckham be at the Wynwood Marketplace drinking a regular drink and not with bottle service and 3 girls? Why the fuck would I be taller than John Starks? And in what world would I tower over John Starks? Like, come on, bro. Oh man,
that would have been like, that was like the funniest part of the story for me. Was like, I was just like, did you not know what John Starks looked like before you started talking to the?
I do though, but like, okay, so like, to my defense, the elation, the just happy to be here part of it was like definitely in full effect. You know what I mean? Like, it was a big day for me, like still one of my favorite days.
Caught up in the moment.
Definitely. Most definitely. And listen, I apologize to Ron Starks for thinking he was John Starks, and I apologize to John Starks for thinking Ron Starks was John Starks. But listen, I still interviewed Ron, still interviewed John. I aced them both. They both had a good time. And everybody went on their way. I've learned something from those moments, and I'll be a better person from that.
What skin tone was Ron Starks?
Ron Starks was John Starks' skin tone.
Okay, fair enough.
Ron Starks was not a dark skin. Ron Starks was not a dark skinned man or a white man. Okay,
when you said he responded, well, man, I was like, oh my god, was he a white guy too?
Oh, shit.
Well, golly.
Oh, golly. I didn't play. I played in high school, but I didn't make the all-star team. Oh, man. So, look.
But he got invited to play golf by his company. He was top seller that month.
Right, right. So where the fuck are you here and who are you, sir? Tell me a little bit about that. So, hey
Well,
man, look.
I sold the most plates this year.
All right, man. We gotta wrap this, man. We gotta wrap this up. Pause for all you freaky frogs out there. EP, I appreciate you, my boy Kev. You already know what it is, man. I'm gonna see y'all soon. I'm gonna